All right. So we need freedom, safety, and healing. This is what we're talking about in Truth Friday. And I've stopped myself and I froze and I've done different things. And so I think these three words are really important. I have them right here. You might not be able to read them. But the more that you look at, they're pillars in what I created, but you look at like the freedom in your body and what you want to receive and how you want to be out there as a speaker, somebody who is out there motivating, inspiring people. Safety is when you really feel like you're in your own. You're starting to understand yourself more, but you know that the breakthrough in your mindset, it's not just what you see here, because when you start looking at the bigger picture, you find more safety. And healing, freedom, safety, and healing, what this is about is how can we clear our mind so that our nervous system just becomes, so calm that you start feeling like you can feel your body humming. That is when you start thinking at your highest level. That's where you start getting these downloads. And when you're coaching or you're out there speaking, something happens where it's magical. You don't even think about what you're saying. You just do your being. And people understand this like us, the people that are in this community, that this is what we want every day. We want this in our heart. And please share anything that you want to talk about when it comes to getting out there, the vulnerability. This Friday is about how can we clear the mind. There were so many times that I wanted to blame somebody else. And so I would be fretting all night and I'd be just blaming that person. But then I'd also come at myself and my adrenaline would keep going. And well, not that it doesn't happen sometimes still, because we're learning. But as we keep practicing, it gets less and less because we're humans. We have to give that space also for the human experience. And every time that we feel vulnerability, sometimes we're not going to feel that we have the freedom, safety, and healing. And there was a time when I thought I was going to freeze and not be able to do anything. And when I started elevating, tell me if you see anything of this in your vision of what you deal with. But I knew I was elevating. I knew I could see bigger things. I knew that I was starting to do this humanitarian project, which I call #Speaker Locking Arms, so we can open the voice and stop the blaming and shaming. So this bigger umbrella came open, and all of a sudden, there were these things that I couldn't even think straight. I was shaking, but not my hands. I was shaking inside. I couldn't think straight, and I couldn't get creative, because every time that I would relax, which is the time that creativity would come in, I would be and just coming at myself. Have you ever had that happen? So I'd freeze. And as soon as I would freeze, it would actually calm me for a moment. So I'd say, okay, Rhonda, you're freezing. So now I know that when you're stressed, you really freeze. And literally what I would do is just sit there. But then I didn't want any music on, no vocals, no nothing. And my body would start releasing. And the stress would start relieving. Sometimes to get to that point, it could take days. And I'd lose all this productivity because I couldn't get in the creative space. I mean, I could do stuff that looked pretty good, but I don't like to touch things if I'm not in the right frame of mind. Because I know I'm in a growth spurt and I just need to have some clearing. I don't do that as much because that affected me in business. I would all of a sudden just flatline and I wouldn't be talking to all these wonderful people that I love talking to, people like you. And so I'd go hiding is the way I see it. And all I wanted to do was learn more and more and more. So getting quiet. I love Joe Dispenza's stuff. What kind of stuff do you like? What kind of tools do you like to use? I'm going to share some with you. And I'm going to go with The Fit Solution, my first book. This is what brought me into media also. And I'm almost done with this, but I want you to really think about mindset and your breakthrough that you want through. What is it that you really want? What are you asking for today? This is not just a motivational conversation about #Truth Friday or #Speaker Locking Arms. This is about you and hitting your goal. This is with the double T. This is fit, and it may not be flip-flopped right, but that's what it is, the Fit Solution. The double T is really important because that last part is about us celebrating ourselves, but consistently. Not just, okay, I got something done. Cool. Yay. And then you just walk away from it and then you move on. But then you lose the energy of always being in the gap. You're beginning where you want to be, and we're always in the gap. Always. We're never here. And if we are, that means we lost our inspiration to actually see our downloads and what we can see moving forward. It's truly that you're getting comfortable in the gap. Because you're never where you want to be, and hopefully you won't ever be at that highest spot and think you have nothing else. That's one of the scariest things, to think that that's all you have. That's the only thing you're aspiring to do. And that can happen when you're looking at weight loss, when you're looking at income in your business. Let's say you get to your first 100,000 and then you're like all plummeting because you're like, well, that's all I've been working for. And all of a sudden you just get lost because you didn't keep creating that bigger vision. So has that ever happened to you? Has that ever helped, made you freeze? So when we start looking at the gap of everything. Hi, Marie. How are you doing? Oh, I love and appreciate you, my friend. So if we're in the gap all the time, that means that you get comfortable with feeling vulnerable because you're going to be at yourself saying, well, you should be here. And you're like, well, no, I can see, I'm a visionary. I can see that I'm going this direction, but I'm going to let that keep guiding me. So it's going to keep moving. And you're going to keep being in the gap. But every small step to quantum leap that you do, you celebrate it so that you can keep moving forward and notice what you have done differently. That's what's going to help you change as a person. It's going to help you step into moving forward. If not, you're going to keep bringing yourself back to all those things that you think that you were instead of the new person. And if there's people in your life that keep wanting to bring you back here, then you're going to keep bringing yourself back there. You're going to be thinking about all the stuff you did wrong, and you may not even be able to hear it. It may be those 70,000 words that you say in the subconscious mind. And that can go on and on and on, because 90% of that amount that you're thinking every day is over and over every single day. The same stuff over and over and over and over and over and over. It doesn't stop. This work, though, you start breaking the synapses in the brain, and this is around epigenetics. We actually have plasticity in our brain. So the more that we move forward through our vision, through the FITT, the last T in fit, the quicker we will get what we want, and the quicker we'll keep building more, bigger vision and quantum leap and get really happy and scared and vulnerable. And you're going to learn why that's so special, because you don't want to be where you are now and stay there and feel sad and depressed because you keep looking at the back. You won't even have time to be depressed. All you will find is that you will feel maybe anxious because you're looking ahead, but you keep reminding yourself to come back to presence. Last part here. Focus, integrate, transform, thrive. That's where your party time is. Focus. You need that for a goal. You need to feel it. You need to know. You need to yearn. And that's where the inspiration, that's where you connect with, this is what I want. This is why I want it. And that's when you start manifesting it. Law of attraction, because you're starting to really see the bigger picture. Then you start integrating. You start doing all the work that you are aware of to get to your goals. But something's happening that's even bigger and bigger, because in your goal, it keeps moving further and further away because it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But you're integrating what you know at that point, and you know the next day you're going to come back to your fit process again. But transformation will happen. In your day, every single day, there's transformation, there's ability. Because when you start looking at how fast time leaves us from morning to night and it's time to go to sleep and replenish, it's like this. So think about that. Look at your sunrises. Look at your sunsets. Notice how fast everything is moving. Notice why you want a quantum leap. Add a comment. Share this with somebody that really needs it, because in sign language. I love you. I truly do. We are all here to open up each other's voice, not to shame and blame somebody else. And this is for me too. So that we can stop the blaming and shaming. We're here. We're on this human experience. Let's create our humanitarian experience also. What are we doing out there to help the human experience? That's what we do here, Fresh Talks Global Vision, in this group. I love you. Namaste.